Hi folks, hope you're safe and well. In this video, I'm joined by Ivan from Exiles Barking, and behind the camera is lead instructor Rupert from Exiles in South Essex. I want to quickly talk about kicking. Okay, kicking when you're using a sword, because there's a couple of places in the Fiore manuscript where we see the foot giving the opponent a good hoof. Common observation actually, especially with newer students, is them maintaining their balance whilst they're performing the kicking action. So there's a couple of tips really. So we'll look at both instances where we see a kick happen, and I'll give you a little tip around trying to maintain a good point of balance. Important not just for delivering the kick, but also in case your opponent decides to do something back to you. It's also important for when you land the foot, having a good base to carry on the fight from, since you may not hit anything of consequence with that kick. So let's look at the first instance first, where we'll see the cutting action come in. I'm at Largo, so I'm keeping my left foot forward. Ivan's cutting into me, and I want him to step, and I make a cover. Okay. Now, common observation from here: when people try and grab a hold of a weapon and send a kick in, they get a bit loose and a bit wobbly. Okay, especially if they're sparring, adrenaline, heat of the moment, etc. So what we tend to encourage as time goes on is people start using different points of balance. So obviously at the moment I've got both feet on the ground, I'm nice and stable. Bring a foot up, I've only got one foot on the ground, I'm less stable. And if Ivan carries on moving, I'm going to have that moment of instability. So if we set that up again, what I can do, and this is a good thing to start practicing, I'm coming offline a little bit, I'm meeting, okay, I'm meeting nice, and we're starting to get onto the strong here, which is as per the image. As I grab this, I'm just going to push that up. Okay, what I can also do, if I have time, or if it just ends up there, is we can actually end up strong to strong. This gives me this point of balance, this point of balance, and then the foot that stays on the ground. So when I do the toe punt to the nether regions, I'm actually very, very stable. Okay, so if Ivan moves offline or whatever, let's say, I'm actually quite stable. Yeah. Whereas if I'm just loosely holding this, and I send the kick in and he starts moving, let's say he wants to, I'm quite unstable, okay, especially if he starts to come in and start grappling. It doesn't have to take an age, it should be part of the action. So we'll take the cut again, and here, in this instance, we're a little bit further away. I can just lock that in, lock this in, and there it goes, okay? So if I do that with a little bit more speed, but without the kick, here, look, there we go, there's the kick. I'm very, very, very stable. So that's example number one. The second kick we see is just from an incrusada, a crossing of the blades, where we have met down on the strong, okay? But I keep both hands on my weapon and I just send in the foot. This image always makes me laugh, because in the Getty with the foot, he's got the longest leg in the world. The guy doing that kick has got a very, very, very long leg. But in effect, we've met really super deep. So he's cut in, I've cut in, and we've met right down here, right down on the strong of the weapon, right down by the handle. In terms of this, okay, it's a bit more difficult to get several points of balance because I'm keeping my hands on my weapon. Again though, we'll notice when people do this kick, they've only got the one foot on the floor and they can be quite unstable. So what you can start to do is apply some pressure into your opponent using the fact that you've got your weapons bound up right close to the point of balance, the centre of gravity. So I'm here, we cut in, I'm there, I'm going to push in a little bit and down, so I've got this very quick kick. Okay, bearing in mind, I'm not necessarily always kicking to the nether regions. I can be kicking to the legs, certainly from out here, kicking to the legs. Doesn't matter what I'm kicking. I mean, I'm not going to be kicking his head, because that's not particularly smart. But the point is, I'm always trying to use different points of contact to help with different points of balance. Okay, so just to touch on that again with the 10th play. So the strike comes in, I'm meeting up here, and I'm applying pressure onto that bind. Okay, this is giving me just a little bit of extra stability to send in the hoof, okay, and maintain an extra point of balance. Again, if I've sent that in and I've landed, that's brilliant. But if Ivan starts to move from here, again, if he's pushing up, etc., because I'm pushing into his arms, I've got just a little bit more stability than just leaving it there. Okay, so if I just left it there, the knee here, down on the shoulder, if I just let it float around, I'm not pushing into him, I'm very unstable. So when I lift my foot, if you push me on it, I've got very little stability. Very little stability. Whereas if we bind up, and I push into it a little bit, there's the hoof, and I'm very stable from here. Look, push. Yeah, I'm quite stable because I'm pushing into his body. It's just a little thing. Incidentally, actually, that helps me out when my feet land too. Because I'm not just going to kick him and say I've won, I'm going to carry on. I want this guy dead, right? So we've cut in, whatever, I'm here, there goes my hoof, but I can start to use that pressure to do other stuff as well, okay? Because the kick is not a fight engine. Yeah, just a supplemental thing, but this does obviously evolve. So just as I say, observationally, when people start doing that, not necessarily in isolation, but when they start free playing and trying these plays at speed, they get a bit wobbly, okay? Certainly when the opponent is also moving and trying to hit them back. So just a little tip there, hopefully that helps. Until the next one. Bye.